Detoxing doesn't work the way you think. I'm guessing that you probably look at detox in a specific way, and it's not your fault. I mean, it's something that has been embedded and kind of conditioned to us for, decades upon decades. But I'm here to break down what detoxing truly is so you understand it, so you can utilize it to the best of its ability, right? The first question is, what is detoxing? Right? We've been taught that detoxing is something that, we choose to do once in a while to clean ourselves out, whether that be a colon cleanse or whether that be a liver cleanse, right? But it's not. Detoxing is actually something that our body does every single day. But to truly know what detoxing is, we have to understand how we've been intoxicated in the first place, right? You can't detox if you're not intoxicated. So how do we get intoxicated? Well, that starts with everything that we consume and absorb from our diets and from our environment. So we are constantly breathing air that's not sufficient. We're constantly eating foods that are not built for the human body. And when we absorb both of those things, that builds up within our body and we have to detox to get rid of it. So what is detoxing? Every time you blow your nose and you have snot, you have boogers, you have mucus, that is detoxing. Every time you sneeze, your body is detoxing. Every time you sweat, your body is detoxing. Every time you have a bowel movement, you're detoxing. Every time you pee, that is detoxing. All of that matters. That is detoxing. Detoxing isn't going to CVS and buying some liver cleanse, taking some pills, and then, seeing all this crazy stuff come out of your body. That is not detoxing. That is what I would call manipulating the body. Detoxing is something, like I said, that happens naturally from your body. But if you understand the underlying causes there, that's where you can understand the power of the detox and how you can somewhat control the detoxing events and ultimately how you can heal. Because when your body is detoxing, it is healing you. It is trying to get you to a state of balance because it has been overconsumed of acidity and toxicity. So when we talk about the environmental factors, right? Look, can we control the air that we breathe? Not necessarily. But we can control the household cleaners that we use. We can control the soaps, the lotions, the perfumes that we put on our body. We can control the clothing that we put on our body. We can control the detergent that we use with our clothes. All those different things we can control. And understand that based on, when we're utilizing chemicals in our life, whatever part of life, like that has an effect on the body. We absorb those things. Think about taking a shower and you're taking a shower with water from the city. Like, is that water what you would say optimal water based on what's in it? Well, that water is going all over you, however many gallons that is, and your body is absorbing that. And when your body absorbs that, there's going to be acidic elements that your body is going to need to get rid of. That is a part of the detox process. Same thing when you put soap on yourself. There are chemicals that your body is not built to absorb, so it has to eliminate them at some point. Any form of elimination is going to be a detox at the end of the day. So looking at detoxing in a completely different way, because there are people, there are people out there who think that if I detox once in a while, I do one of these detoxes from the store, that's going to keep me healthy, but not understanding the underlying cause of why they have the intoxication in the first place. If you don't work on the intoxicating part, then it doesn't matter how many times you detox because you're always going to be playing from behind. Because not only does the intoxication cause a detox, your body is the elimination pathways are getting blocked, are getting having negative effects on it to where it can't operate and it can't detox in its best fashion. The one thing that I'll dive into that I think is extremely important is having these massive healing events, like getting a cold, getting a fever, getting a flu, right? Those are acute stages of detoxing, acute stages of healing events. If you're not having those and you know that you're not eating the best diet, you're eating a lot of cooked food, you're eating a lot of meat, a lot of processed foods, then there is some form of blockage within your elimination pathways. Plain and simple. Because there's no reason why your body shouldn't be getting rid of all these acid forming elements that come along with that type of diet. So I'll say it again. If you're eating a lot of cooked food, a lot of processed food, a lot of meats, a lot of cooked starches, using a lot of oils, a lot of fats, a lot of protein, and you're not having healing events, because I know people out there say, man, I haven't got sick in 3 years. Well, then where's it going? What's happening? Like if your body's not actively eliminating it, then it's building up and accumulating. And when you accumulate specifically acids, they really start to do damage within the body because that's where it's staying. It's not leaving you. That's what these healing events are. That's what detoxing is. The sneezes, the runny noses, the colds, the flus, the fevers. All those things are acute stages of dis-ease within the body. Your body's process of eliminating mucus, eliminating acids from the body. If you're not having them and your lifestyle should be promoting it, then there's some form of blockage, meaning there's some form of subacute or chronic disease happening within the body, disabling you from eliminating. You see where I'm getting with that? So that's why it's so important to understand the intoxication part. Detoxing is cool, but it happens all the time. You don't need to go to the store to do it. You start implementing the hydrating foods into your diet, adding those raw whole foods specifically. Man, the leafy greens are great for this. And the fruits are as well, because the fruits are, I call like the fruits are the cleaners. The leafy greens are kind of like the builders, but they work in tandem to really help clean out the body. Specifically, I mean, like grapes are extremely astringent. They pull a lot of those acid forming built up mucus and everything that's happening within our digestive tract. They pull that stuff. But if we're eating a lot of the other stuff, the meats, the dehydrating foods, well, guess what? Now our lymphatic system, which is the elimination system within the body, it's stagnant. Now it's not flowing. Now we have built up cellular debris, built up acidity happening within the interstitial spaces within our body, and it's not being eliminated because there is no flow, right? It's dry. That is the intoxicating elements. So when we're talking about detox is something that needs to happen all the time, specifically if you're living that type of lifestyle. Now, if you're eating 100% raw or really close to 100% raw and you're not dealing with those things, that's because you are eliminating. Your lymphatic system is moving. You are getting rid of a lot of acidity. You are getting a lot of cellular debris, right? But understand that your bowel movements, your sweat, your urine, that is your elimination pathways. But we're detoxing all the time. That's how we need to look at detoxing. And when we do have these healing events where we do get a cold or we do get a flu or we do get a fever, not to suppress them, not to stop them, because that is the body doing its work. That is the body trying to get us to a state of balance, to a state of health. We've been taught otherwise. We've been taught to attack the cold, to attack the fever, to attack the flu with things like suppressants, cough suppressants, mucus suppressants, all these different things to stop the body from doing what it was built to do. So it's very, very important, very, very imperative that you allow the body to go through that process, right? A fever, what is a fever? What would be the purpose of our body creating a fever? Well, what does a fever make us do? It raises the body temperature, so we what? We sweat. Well, what is sweat? Sweat is detoxing. That's detoxification, baby. That's how it works. Allow the body to do what it does. When we start intervening and interfering, that's when the real problems arise. Once again, it's man, woman trying to outsmart nature. Allow our bodies to do what they do, because they have our best interest in mind at all times. At all times. When you start intervening, when you start interfering with the natural process of the body, all of a sudden now, okay, so now we're not eliminating. So if we're not eliminating, we're not detoxing, what are we doing? We're staying intoxicated and we are accumulating. So I go back to the two sides of chemistry. There's alkaline and there's acids. Acids are destructive, they're corrosive. If they continue to build up within the body and they're not being eliminated, they are going to start destroying tissue, destroying cells. And then those colds, flus, and fevers turn into more subacute issues like pneumonia, right? Like bronchitis, things of that nature. And now tissue is being severely damaged, and that's where inflammation comes into play. I'm going to do a whole video on inflammation, but understand that inflammation is a healing process. It's not the cause of anything. It is the healing of the issues that have accumulated. When tissue gets damaged, inflammation is the body flushing water to that specific area to help rebuild tissue. And it's painful. Yeah, it is. But we don't want to stop the inflammation. We want to stop the underlying cause of the inflammation, because the inflammation is the healing process. But if we stop inflammation and we stop all these other things, these subacute things, guess what they become? They become chronic issues. Now the pneumonia and now the inflammation has now turned into issues like diabetes, and has turned into things like cancer and heart disease. To where now we have we have very imperative organs being damaged and not working properly. All right. So understanding those elements of it. In order to understand detoxing, you have to understand how you've been intoxicated and work on the underlying issues. Get rid of the intoxication and the detoxes won't be so bad. You don't have to go to CVS and you don't have to go buy these cleanses that they're charging you $29.99 for, okay? Understand the power of your lymphatic system and elimination. If you're not eliminating, if you're not having bowel movements consistently, that is an issue. If you know you're eating a diet that is not healthy, that is a bunch of cooked meats, processed foods, starches, fats, oils, things of that nature, and you're not having healing events, well, that means you're not eliminating, you're not detoxing. There's a blockage. All right. So a great way to transition. I do have an ebook. You can check out the link in the description. It has an 8-week transitional plan in there. Look, it's by donation only. So you pay what you feel. And I'd love to hear your results after trying it. It's over 60 pages. So check that out. Also, if this video resonates with you, make sure you give me a thumbs up. All right. And if you love this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Peace, love, and light, everybody.